Welcome to Walt Disney World.
The scariest place on Earth!
Hold on, hear me out. Walt Disney World is full of nostalgia, magic, and fun. Some of these attractions were designed to thrill you. But did Disney go too far? We asked our readers, what Disney World ride are you afraid of?
Today we talk about thrills. We talk about chills. We talk about screams of terror and fear. And in Disney World, the scariest place ever. We all find it very scary there.
Scariest place on Earth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Super scary.
Yeah.
Most of the time, Disney isn't very scary. It's a very family-friendly place, but there are a few attractions in Disney World that are certainly scary, especially if you've got fraidy cats or people who are afraid of heights. So we did talk to our readers to ask a little bit about what Disney World ride is the one that they are most afraid of. And we got some interesting reactions here, some interesting choices for the scariest ride. But I think we start with one that might not be so surprising as what people think is scary. Dustin, what's one of the rides that the readers said?
So we're going to start off with Tower of Terror. Tower of Terror, yeah, I would say probably overall, that's going to be one of the biggest ones that everybody's said throughout everything. So we did have a few of our viewers and fans and subscribers and such talk about it. Danielle W. said she hates the sudden drops. She hates it. And for anybody that's out there that's not familiar with Tower of Terror, how dare you? But if you... If you are not familiar, it is over in Hollywood Studios. It is the Hollywood Tower Hotel, aka the Tower of Terror. This ride will drop you from way up high to really low, and actually it's not dropping you at all. It is actually a ride that actually pulls you down and pushes you back up, if you did not know. But this ride takes place in the 1920s in an abandoned hotel. It's got a lot of cool Easter eggs and a lot of different fun things that it's obviously derives from the show, The Twilight Zone. But this ride is, to me, it's scary for some, but it's one of my favorite rides in the parks.
In 1994, you've got to understand, this was like a satanic possession had taken over a ride in Walt Disney World. I mean, imagine nothing like this had ever been done before, where a car was driving out of an elevator shaft across through a room with dark ride features that were really far out and freaky, and then driving into another elevator shaft that then, as you said, not only drops you, but pulls you down at a speed beyond which you would drop naturally by the force of gravity, and lift you back up. Now, back in the day, you would have one drop, that was it, and you were done. Or you would have a couple drops. But now it's programmed to do this randomized, theatrical, heightened version of even, your already worst nightmare. And it's really fun.
I think it's amazingly fun. And yeah, it's great.
It's so fun.
Lately, I've been having these combos that involve like a fake out the other night. The end started. And
that happened to me. That happened to me, and I literally lost my mind. I just went berserk. I was like, "Are you kidding? We're shooting back up after the fake out. It's so good."
They did it. And then another time, I looked outside twice. I got to go by the window 2 different times and hold there. So over the years, they've definitely made improvements. And I have to shout out something that literally we just found out about yesterday, which is the fact that the misters in the queue that were there as part of the opening day version of the experience, like literally it looks almost like a fog machine, but it's a cooling mist. It serves 2 purposes. It looks creepy and it feels amazing in the heat. Those have been fixed. They've been broken since 2015. They're back, so the queue looks better than ever.
It looks so cool.
And they fixed the fiber optics in the sign out front, so even in daytime, you can see Tower of Terror glowing and sparkling
Yay!
through
That's
the old hotel sign, and it's better than ever.
I was going to say,
awesome.
it sounds like Tower is doing better than ever in every way, shape, form, whatever. Tower's on the come up, and we just need to get behind her on that. Yeah, I am someone who is scared of Tower of Terror. But I will say, as someone who
You're
for the
scared
last,
of Tower of Terror.
Yeah, horrified of it. I'm scared of heights though. So it's a combo of things, but I've had to ride it basically for the last year, almost every week. And once you do that, you really start to overcome your fears.
Something
and honestly,
I will say,
I like Tower now.
When Emma rides Tower of Terror, when I ride Tower of Terror with Emma, a lot of time the experience that I have is Tower of Terror, which is thrilling, and then also Emma gripping my thigh with a vice-like claw that is just
so
aggressive.
scared.
And I don't think she knows she's doing it,
No.
but she goes,
I'm scared of it. I was the kid, like my Hollywood Studios memories as a child is my parents being like, here's $10. Scoops is here. The bathrooms are here. We'll be back in 20 minutes.
Emma, because Emma's afraid of the heights. Same as Carrie P, one of our fans, Carrie P. That's why she hates the ride, is that she's just horrified of heights and falling. So she's with you. You guys won't ride it together. You guys can go just hang out on Hollywood and just have a great time.
We're gonna get some
Have a
scoops.
cocktail and
Yeah,
and
we're gonna get
scoops.
ice cream.
There you go.
"There's some scoops."
There you go. The biggest thing, I know we're talking about the ride, and Craig sent a whole bunch of cool stuff from like when it opened and stuff, but the spookiness factor of not just the ride is what I kind of like most about it, because when you walk into the lobby, just all of the spider webs and the cobwebs they put everywhere, all the old artifacts and stuff that literally seem like it's from the 1920s that just stayed there and was just left there. And to know that a lot of those artifacts are from the show. I can remember when I first started working at Disney back in like 2004, we got to go ride the ride. It was my first time ever. And they were telling us, like, when you look at the board that tells you where all the floors are and where everybody's at, you can look down there and they'd have like little hidden messages and
Take the
stuff.
stairs. It says take the stairs. And it's
Where does it say that?
in
have
the
to
board.
look.
the
We had to look down
letter
inside
boards.
of it, like the letter boards, like where you open it up and change all the letters. When you close it, the
letters
you
have
can't see the
fallen
bottom.
down, and they say take the stairs.
So one of my friends just did. They just did a little tour thing for her birthday, and I didn't. We tried the tours in one of the other videos, and I did not know they did a Tower of Terror VIP tour thing. Must have been like in the blind from this, or I forgot about it after I heard about it. But I didn't know that they literally take you through everything. You can kind of almost walk through and touch everything, really get close-up looks and stuff through the lobby. Last thing I will say, I was just in Disneyland Paris, and as ours is so much more of a ride where you get to go in to the lobby, go into the waiting room, sit there and listen to Rod Serling, which is not him, except for the very first line and a half, which is another little thing you guys can go look into. I know we have a post that tells you all these secrets and stuff, so you should go check that out on AllEars and or DFB. And but once you go in, you get to go into the fifth dimension and you get to see a little more Easter eggs. Our friend Mickey might appear somewhere in there as you're going through all these artifacts and see these things for the show. But however, at Disneyland Paris does not do that. It does not take you into the fifth dimension. It is just, you are in the shaft and you're going up and down, but it is so much more creepier because it focuses on the little girl, and it's when you're going up and down things and it's just her, and it is eerily creepy. So I will say that as much as ours is, I think, is more entertaining, it's more things, more visual, more stuff to it. Now it doesn't have the creepy doll at the end of it like ours does, but in the one shaft, but she is creepy because she like talks to you and stuff. And like in most horror movies, I think most of the ones that are scary are the ones that have the little kids, that do weird things. And this is a little kid that does weird things. So that is definitely super creepy. I kind of wish they would bring that into ours.
Emma and I actually wrote it the other day when we were filming our How to Do Hollywood Studios in one day, and there is a part in Tower of Terror which you don't see all that often, and perhaps this was lit a little different with some of the updates, but hard to say.
Apparently everything's working now.
Yeah, because there is a ledge that you can pass during your fall. I mean, you always pass it, but there's a ledge that you can stop in front of that has human people standing at it in the dark and they're barely lit up, that scares the living everything out of me. Like, whenever I've been near, when I cross that, Tower of Terror no longer becomes a thrilling chill for me. It becomes spooky time, get me out of here. And that happens. So this is definitely a like textbook scary ride for sure. I hear you, Carrie. I hear you, Danielle. Totally get it. Another reader, Capriel, said Tower of Terror. I've ridden it twice, but after giving it 2 tries, I scratched it off my list. Good for you. Giving it 2 tries. You know, that's good. I actually
really respect that. I live by the motto. Yeah, I live by the motto. You can do anything for 10 seconds. Like that's how I have to talk myself into things, and I had to do that probably 15 times on Tower. Those 10 seconds just over and over to get there. So
every time another 10 seconds passes, you're like, well, I did it. I can handle another 10.
I can do 10 more. So Capri, I respect you for giving up on 2 times. I had to do it for work, or I also would have given up. But respect.
But Tower is not the only scary ride, even though it might be the most traditionally scary attraction. There are other rides that our readers said really scared them. Breedlove, what was another common answer?
I have to agree with this completely. For one very big, very important reason that I am going to hope that you guess. The ride that I'm talking about today is Mission Space. What's the number 1 scariest part of Mission Space?
When the door is shut and it closes on you.
No, when they demolished Horizons to build it.
Oh, I should have known that's where we were going. I was like, I don't remember.
Haunted house of broken dreams. No, I ride the ride. But I have to, like, every time I walk by, the planter that's out front that is
shaped
like
the Horizons
building, basically. Yes, I have to touch it and sing a little bit of, if you can dream it, then you can do it.
This is true.
Yes,
I've seen you do it.
Yes, you can. And I do it every time. Every time I film, I do it, and our editor cuts it out.
I've seen it maybe once and make it into a video.
It made it in once. I do it every time. They're trying to make me more likable. In any event, it did replace... Terrifyingly, it was replaced by a new ride that sounded like it was going to be the best thing ever. Walt Disney Imagineers were working side by side with NASA astronauts and scientists to create a simulator attraction that would bring you as close to as possible to the feeling of blasting off and actually flying to space. And it was an exciting idea, and it sort of was like, okay, well, it's really painful that this ride I love went away, but this new thing is going to be incredible. And honestly, I think it delivered on its promise, but the intensity of it, I think, surprised most guests.
They didn't happen to think through the fact that blasting off into space is not fun.
Correct. Exactly. And that people... Up until this point, although I guess we all did live through extraterrestrial alien encounter, which is something that we're not talking about because it doesn't exist anymore because it was too scary and went away. But at least that wasn't like a physical, it didn't have a physical effect on your body that was potentially actually dangerous. So, yeah, I think the fear is warranted in this case. It was way more intense than anything people were used to experiencing at Disney parks or in theme parks in general. I mean, it was like so extreme. The G on your body is so sort of oppressive. I have to personally remind myself to breathe while also like keeping my heart and mind from a spiritual standpoint centered to prevent having a panic attack, because it's really that intense. And I probably, people who haven't ridden it are like, that is so dramatic, but it is a very intense ride, and so much so that they actually had to close the ride down and convert half of it to a modified experience that is called Green Mission, versus the orange mission, which is the traditional version of the ride. This one does not include the centrifugal force that creates the feeling that you are the G forces on your actual body. This one just sort of like moves you around a little bit. It's a much happier version of the experience. The film that you watch, everybody's just excited to go and blast off. There's no danger. There's no, it's not like the stakes aren't as high. So I kind of like Green Mission, honestly, and that's not scary. But we're not talking about rides that aren't scary today. Raina M said, Mission Space Orange. The feeling of being buried alive in a shallow grave in a wooden box. Yep, that's where my mind goes.
Wow.
I mean, she's not wrong. It's small and enclosed, the ride vehicle. Okay, it closes down on top of you. You get in and you're like, oh, this is chill, whatever, I can deal with this. And then all of a sudden, the whole thing closes in and does sort of entomb you in a way.
For lack of a better word.
There are bags to use if you need to lose your lunch, which is convenient. Those get a lot closer. You can just reach for them right here, but still, you're in there. The screen moves closer to you because it's an interactive experience. Michelle C said, absolutely refuse to ride Mission Space ever again. I felt nauseous after the last couple of times doing it. And that's on the green side.
Wow.
Ooh, Michelle.
Well, it's still a motion simulator. And as a motion sickness girly right here, it doesn't have to be a lot to make me sick. If there's a screen and we're moving, and that's probably I'm there. So I feel you, Michelle.
It came out when I was first working at Disney, so we actually got to go ride it. I think you can find it on Discovery Channel or Travel Channel. I'm on TV as one of the people going into the ride and everything. We got to go do the filming day and I'll try it out. So seeing people do this for the first time and then walk out green, not from riding the green one, because it wasn't there though. Their faces were just green from coming off of it. Mm-hmm. So I loved it because I like rides like that. So the scariest part for me was I was scared someone was going to throw up on me. So I think that's pretty scary, and an enclosed space that you're spinning and it's just there. But I could be wrong, and people out there can go in the comments and tell me, no, you're losing it. It didn't happen. But I think it's slightly toned down the orange one and really toned down for the green one because I don't feel it's as intense as it used to be.
There were a lot of calls for response for medical professionals to the ride when it first opened. And I've always wondered about that. I guess people just know that it's this intense and they have the option to go to green, and that's why that doesn't happen as much anymore. Yeah. But that makes sense.
It was always a morning ride and not an afternoon ride because you did not want to jump on that thing with anybody hanging out at Food and Wine Festival for half the day and then deciding to ride it after they've made a trip or two around the world. Yeah.
I've definitely gotten on that after a Garden Grill pre-veganism intense throwdown.
Oh man. I think for me, I love Mission Space. I have the very uncommon feeling that I think it's an awesome ride. I think it's super unique. You don't ride a lot of stuff like that. And I think if you want a thrill, it is very thrilling. And though the feeling, even though I like it, I wouldn't call the feeling pleasant. I do consider the feeling to be thrilling, but I also don't call roller coasters a pleasant feeling. They're a thrilling feeling. I do not like being upside down, but I find it fun on a roller coaster. I feel the same way about Mission Space. I think what's important is if you do tend to get motion sick, if you are claustrophobic, I highly recommend trying out the Green Mission first. But I think it's worth a shot. Just like Dustin said, do it in the morning before you have a ton of food in your stomach. I also will say, I brought one of my very close friends on this ride, and I knew she would like it because she likes thrilling stuff. She's a very strong, hardy person who tends to not. She's the opposite of me and my frail-bodied humanity. She can stomach stuff. So I was like, she'll be great and she'll love it. She did love it, but we went on it, and the girl, she has a phobia of people throwing up, a full-on phobia, freaks out if it happens. and the girl next to me.
I know someone else like that.
The girl next to me started reaching for the barf bag, and you are in such an enclosed space. I was like, our day is about to be ruined. If this girl throws up in this enclosed space with my friend who's phobic of throwing up, our day is ruined. And luckily, she kept it together. But it's a very real thing. There are barf bags in the ride. As Debbie C says, Mission Space, anything with a barf bag is scary to me. I don't want to barf, and I don't want to see anyone else barf. So that, I think, fully agree with Debbie, fully agree with Dustin. The barfing aspect, truly the scariest. That said, I have a very weak stomach, and I've never thrown up on or after Mission Space. But it could happen. Could happen to you. Could happen to the person who's seated next to you.
I would say, shout out to those with phobias of enclosed spaces, claustrophobia, fear of the dark, and anyone who is prone to anxiety or panic attacks. I've had moments on this ride, and as somebody who does experience anxiety, I would say, and has experienced panic attacks, I would just say it's one of those things that you want to be prepared for, and don't take it lightly. It's intense.
This next one might be a little surprising, but I actually, it's funny and coincidental that this was said, because this is well known as Emma's scariest ride, least favorite ride in Disney World. And a lot of our readers, a lot of our audience agrees with you, which kind of surprises me, but it doesn't actually, because I've ridden this ride and I know how it feels, and it is scary. Emma, what's another popular one that people said was the most terrifying?
Yeah, so I am really, really excited to talk about this today, because nothing brings me more joy than slandering Astro Orbiters. And that's what we're about to do for the next few minutes. Astro Orbiters is over in Tomorrowland and Magic Kingdom, and a lot of people describe it as a Dumbo-type high-flying ride. Technically, this is correct. If you look at the ride vehicle, you sit in a vehicle, it lifts you up high and you spin around. However, what a lot of people don't like to mention, or they forget about, is it's on top of the People Mover, and also goes significantly faster than Dumbo, especially during the descent. So a lot of people, I don't think I'm crazy, because a lot of our readers agree with me. Teresa W. said, in particular, Astro Orbiter. First and last time I rode it, I was pretty sure I was going to die. Teresa, you took the words out of my mouth, honey. I mean, I don't even know how to put it. I've been on this ride a total, I think 3 times in my life, maybe 4. I rode it one time. I was 17. I swore I'd never get on it again. In fact, people have to pay me to get on it now. That's how you work the system. That's the only reason I'm getting on this ride. I hate it. I've told my children and family members, I'm like, y'all have a great time. I'm sitting down here and drinking a frozen Coke. You find me when you're done. I'm not coming with you. You load into the small metal rockets, and if you're not with somebody you're really close with, well, you're going to be close after this, because they're wrapping their legs around you, and you have one thin little strap that you're going to wrap around both of you. And Disney was like, this is fine. You're just going to go at probably 1,000,000 miles an hour on your way down, and you guys are going to have each other to hold on to. And that's it. I also know that Frank says that he does not like Astro Orbiters because he's no big fan of heights. And that's where most of my Astro Orbiter hate comes from. This is one of the, at the highest point of the rockets, you reach about 80 feet over Magic Kingdom. And that sounds like really cool, like, wow, that's amazing. And then you realize in the moment, I'm 80 feet above Magic Kingdom, and it just gets a little too real. You don't really like it. It's just, for some people, it's thrilling and it's exciting. If you are even semi-nervous about heights, it just gets a little too real. But some people say it's a cool place to watch the fireworks at night. So I'll toss pro Astro Orbiter people a bone. I'll give you that. It's neat to watch fireworks there. You won't catch me watching fireworks there ever in my life.
Unless she's getting paid.
Unless I'm getting paid for it. Finally, Stacy agrees with me too, because she says the one and only ride that fits that description for her is the dang Astro Orbiter. Nope. Amen, Stacy. I mean, I don't even know how else to articulate it more beautifully than that. I am just not a fan of this one. The heights is the main issue for me. And then the speed as you're coming down and you kind of lean. There is like a legitimate fear of falling out. You can make fun of me, you can say I'm crazy, but it feels like you are. It's going too fast. But some people find it thrilling. So that was my Astro Orbiter rant. Thank you all for sitting with me. It's terrifying and the worst ride in Disney World. If you have thoughts that agree, please feel free to share. If not, thanks for coming to the TMS, you guys. This has been so much fun.
Emma's TED Talk on Astro Orbiter.
This is my TED Talk.
Very anti-Astro Orbiter. I will say, like, I'm not afraid of heights. Astro Orbiter, the speed and the leaning does make me a little like, towards the end of the ride, because it does shockingly lean.
It speeds up as you're going down.
It speeds up, and you are literally tilted at like this angle in that little rocket with just the lap strap. It is 100% safe, of course.
Of course.
But it does feel very scary. And those rockets are small. I will say you get the choice to ride with someone or alone. Emma and I ride together a lot. It's very tight for both of us together.
It is.
It's an intimate time to ride together. One time they asked, I hadn't ridden Astro Orbiter maybe ever, and they asked my brother and I if we wanted to share a rocket or to each have our own, and we were like, we'll share a rocket. Bad idea. Don't share a rocket with your brother. Don't do it. No.
Don't do it with your friends.
It's a good thing they give you the choice and they don't try to just stuff as many people on that ride or have a single rider line, because
But here's my question is
when
we were like, we'll share one. Why weren't they like, are you sure?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little tight.
You guys look like siblings.
I would be scared to be stuck with somebody that just like smelled really bad, and then you're like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? That would be the scariest part. Is
So,
somebody
can
weird
I
and they smell bad.
Yeah. Can I expose us for a moment?
Sure, of course.
Are you
The first time Quincy and I ever rode this, no, luckily no. The first time we ever rode this together though, I always have to ride in the front because I'm shorter. And as we go to sit down, we'd known each other for like a little while, but we were like
we were not as close.
We were not that close. And she has to like slowly slide her feet and legs around me. And in this process, she goes, I don't know the last time I shaved my legs. I'm sorry. And then the ride just takes off. I was like, okay.
It was scary
We're
because
best friends now.
Not only is the ride kind of scary, but also my relatively new coworker was learning how long it had been since I had shaved my legs in real time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So take that and do with that what you will. You know, let that impact your Astro Orbiter decisions.
Breedlove, are you pro or anti-Astro Orbiter? You're a thrill fellow. You love a thrill.
I mean, I'm just thinking back, like, the first summer that Walt Disney World was open was 1972. And I'm just thinking about being a teenager in 1972 and just the Astro Orbiter. You know what I mean? That's just, that must have been...
That's a vibe.
That's just like, that's a vibe.
Yeah, the whole vibe.
Were you even allowed to be that close in 1972 though?
Yeah. That's when it was, that was like the heyday for being that close.
That
was...
true. You're right.
That ride is a product of the
70s for sure.
Oh my gosh.
The Imagineers really said it's the 70s and how can we prove it?
Yep.
And they did it for you.
They did it. Well, that one for sure is scary. And I have to say for this one, I don't find it to be a must do. I think that if I think you should ride Dumbo to get your sort of picking up and go around. If you have never ridden Astro Orbiter and you go to Disney World a lot, ride it. Like, give it a try. It's probably going to surprise you. But if you have one trip to Disney World every like few years, or this is your first trip, you've never been, don't consider this a must do. I would say the other two are worth trying, not in the way I would say about Astro Orbiter. But definitely scary. All three of these attractions, very scary. A lot of like great opinions from readers today, tales of caution for if you're going to ride these rides. And I think we definitely agree with a lot of these from some angles. If you like this video, go ahead and like and subscribe. And now go watch our episode about whether or not Disney could add a fifth park. See you there.